Good afternoon, everyone. So, how do we innovate a system like the South African Seed Potato Certification Scheme that has been in operation for more than 30 years and has done very well? Should it be innovated? Can it be innovated? To answer that question, we need to understand what is the principles that underwrite the scheme in itself. So, it's important to understand that the South African Seed Potato Certification Scheme is predominantly grounded or relies on the visual identification of pests and diseases. There is laboratory testing, but the majority of the inspections is based on the ability of the officials to identify the diseases and the pests. Therefore, for a certification official to be fully qualified, it takes a minimum of 2 years to be qualified and technically competent to perform that job. Therefore, for us, it's really important to have a stable and a robust succession pipeline to ensure that we are able to deliver that service to all our growers and clients. We do continuous training on our staff, not because they don't know how to identify, but because we take up new recruits annually, and it's important for us to ensure that they have the necessary skills to do the certification. One other aspect that we have that's maybe not well known is that we have a very mature database that spans over a period of 20 years and that is now ready for data mining. Furthermore, PCS, in the pursuit of excellence, continues to collaborate with national and international partners and counterparts to make sure that we stay up to speed with the latest developments in seed health and the new and emerging pests and diseases. So one of these initiatives that was referred to this morning at the breakfast session is UNICE. UNICE stands for the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, and South Africa has been participating in this for quite a number of years. The standard or the section for standardization of seed potatoes were initially adopted in 1961, and the purpose of that standard is to globally improve seed potato quality and safety. It was decided, and it only happens every few years, so once you've revised a standard, you have to leave it alone for a period of 5 years before you can touch it again. But there was a need globally to review this standard, and it was work that was done that started 3 years ago, and South Africa participated in this process, and Sanet Tiaart at that stage as the managing director of PCS represented South Africa, and that standard was now in March of this year finally adopted. So it's quite a formal process and very lengthy, and now it's put forward to the international standard to accept that, and we expect that adoption to be formalized or ratified in November of this year. Why is this important? What does it mean for South Africa? So the UNICE standards job is to set a common terminology and minimum quality requirements for certifying high quality seed, and it's used by everyone in the industry to harmonize terminology and processes and standards. So the key updates for this is to improve, and once the standard has been formally adopted, we will give more information through to the industry. But in short, it was to improve the certification process globally. So it strives for a more transparent system, stronger disease and pest control, and better traceability. Of specific importance is the alignment with global trade rules that include European and North American trade standards. So the benefit of South Africa participating in this process is that we get exposed to what happens in other countries. So our counterpart from the Netherlands presented to our group their feedback on their experience of true potato seed. So in the Netherlands, they're quite far advanced in terms of the technology of this new innovation, which is truly innovative. And she presented the data as if they had done 2 experiments. So they've done an experiment on true potato seed, and they've done an experiment on how it's conventionally done. And her feedback to the group was that the production of tubers directly from true potato seed by the use of seedlings for planting seems to be the best practice. And they really struggled with the field inspections in terms of the grow-outs, because if you look at the picture, I don't know where to point the picture. So at the back, that is conventional potato plants. And in the front is grow-outs from different varieties derived from true potato seed. And she said as their equivalent of certification officials, they were unable to perform variety and purity testing because of the physiological examples of the morphology that they could see. So they couldn't do it, they rejected it, it was sent back to the breeders for purifying, and now it looks like with the next planting, they'll be able to carry on with that. New Zealand felt very strongly about new innovations, specifically about how do we augment certification schemes with new technologies. And so they presented on the use of drones, image analysis, multiplex PCRs, and also true potato seed. Specifically, the drones, or the use of drones, drew a lot of attention, because as much as there are a lot of benefits to the drones, less movement through fields, less spread of disease, more productivity, there's also operational restrictions like wind, for instance, that takes the drones off their path. And the benefits is also, and that's something that the human eye cannot detect, is very early infestations that you can't see. So there was a lot of conversation about that within the UNICE group, and how do we incorporate that into existing seed certification schemes. Similarly, multiplex PCR analysis, where instead of running individual tests, you develop protocols where you can run more than one, and in some instances, like for cucumber green mottle virus, this has already been done, so that was offered. And then this article was interesting that they also brought to the table, was in 2024, a group of Iranian scientists published work on machine learning in terms of the ability to identify internal and external defects on potato tubers. So the conclusion from the group, from the UNICE group, was that as a global representative of standards, we need to focus on this, see what it is that we can use within our existing schemes, and understand what would be the position of the global community on new technologies to augment certification schemes. Finally, this was just incidentally forwarded to me prior to this event by Dr. Renee Prins, where a whole lot of money has been allocated to an institute in England focusing on reconstituting potato chromosomes. This is truly groundbreaking work, and it's very exciting about what this technology can do for the industry, and we look forward to see what will come out of it, but that it will definitely have an impact on seed certification and how we interpret the standard. There's no doubt about that. Then finally, I asked AI, what does an innovated potato looks like? And this is what AI said. And this morning, I think it was the lady from DSI, spoke about innovation and what it means. But for me, the most important thing is the last sentence here, where it says, the creation of value is a defining characteristic of innovation. Thank you.